Even with the election over, Democrats still not signaling a plan to end the government shutdown as stark divisions within the party itself are becoming more clear. Republicans, meantime, weighing all options to free up federal funding, which unfortunately has been taken hostage in now the longest shutdown in U.S. history. Joining us now to discuss is GOP Florida Congressman Randy Fine. Good morning to you, sir. Welcome to the National News Desk.
Thanks for having me.
You know, clearly there's some far-left Democrats who want radical change, who became even more emboldened after Tuesday's election. So now even extending Obamacare subsidies won't be enough for compromise, it sounds like. What's your thoughts? Are there enough moderate Democrats to open the government back up in the Senate? And if not, what's your thoughts on Senate Republicans ending the filibuster?
Well, there haven't been for 35 days. And I think it's disgusting that in order to hide the failure of Obamacare and give free health care to illegal immigrants, Democrats have kept the government closed. I do think it's a reasonable idea to say, should the minority party have the power to shut down the government? I don't think they should be able to have that power. So I think on a limited basis, eliminating the filibuster, so the majority party, Republicans have the presidency, we have the House, and we have a majority in the Senate, we should be able to operate the government. And I think it's worth looking into and getting rid of the filibuster for that purpose.
So I want to read to you what President Trump posted on Truth Social. He wrote, "The Democrats are far more likely to win the midterms in the next presidential election if we don't do the termination of the filibuster, because it will be impossible for Republicans to get common sense policies done with these crazed Democrat lunatics being able to block everything by withholding their votes. For 3 years, nothing will be passed and Republicans will be blamed. If we do terminate the filibuster, we will get everything approved like no Congress in history." I mean, he might have a point there. Is this going to be 3 years of nothing getting passed because of the filibuster at this point?
Well, he does have a point. Democrats won't support anything. And I just want people to consider this. If Democrats just thought it was good politics to keep the government closed, no matter what, they just want it to be closed because they don't want to go to work. They have the power to do that right now. Even though they have less than a majority, even though they're the minority party, they can keep the government closed for any reason. And is that the way our democracy should work? Republicans want a majority in the House, or a majority in the Senate and the presidency. But a minority party in one chamber can literally keep the government closed forever if that's what they want. President Trump is right. We do need to change the filibuster so we can get the government back to work.
After the elections, you wrote this: "Legal immigrants who hate America elected a communist Muslim jihadist. New York City has fallen. America is next if we don't stop it." A mass exodus, Congressman, is expected from New York City. And as you know, in your state, this is where a lot of those residents end up. How do you feel about that? Are you concerned they're going to also bring their politics if they come on down to Florida?
Well, what we've seen over the last 5 years, they don't. The people who leave are abandoning those policies. The idiots who vote for the policies, they stay, and then they scratch their heads and they wonder why they don't work. Look, the election in New York is incredibly good news for Florida. Our state's going to continue to grow, but it's incredibly bad news for the country, because now one of our greatest cities is going to give in to communism and socialism, which was brought to them not by people who were born in America, by people who came to America not because they love it, but because they wanted to change it. And there's nothing wrong with America. And I think what we see in New York is very, very dangerous.
Yeah, and I want to, even in your state, home prices have soared, insurance has increased, home ownership has just become so unattainable for so many. And so if, let's say you were to get an influx of some folks from wherever down there in Florida, how do you fix something like that? How do Floridians feel about that? And what's your thoughts about a 100% tariff for New Yorkers who do move there, like Texas Governor Greg Abbott's planning to do?
Well, I think what we need to do in Florida, housing is a supply and demand issue. And so we need to be building more houses because people are going to be coming. But the other thing we can do to free up supply is we can keep deporting illegal immigrants. They're taking up hundreds of thousands of housing units in our state, and we need them to leave so that we can make room for actual Americans. I think those things will help. As it relates to tariffs, I think it's a cute idea to talk about, but frankly, it's unconstitutional to say to Americans they can't move into your state. So I understand the sentiment Amendment. I often joke that we should build a wall in between Florida and Georgia. We are a peninsula, so we could just block the North. But I think the Constitution would not let us do that as much as we might like to.
All right, Congressman Randy Fine from the great state of Florida. We appreciate you joining us this morning. Hope you have a great weekend.
Thanks.
Thank you.
My home state.